everyone, today's video is going to be a little bit different because usually I'll do like makeup videos, but here today I'm gonna talk about the Monsta X Wonho situation. Now I was interested to do this video because I was quite shook when this entire situation happened. I'm not a Mon baby myself, but I do stand the group because I think that hey, they're doing pretty well. They are, they've been working hard. They've been producing a lot of really cool stuff. Yeah. So the reason why, or the reasons why I wanted to do this video was also to join into the discussion, because I've seen a lot of YouTubers, usually they are reaction channels doing this sort of video, and so I want to discuss it in a manner that is a bit level-headed in a way, and look at the bigger issues surrounding this whole fiasco. Now, just some background knowledge. I'm not an expert on this whole situation, but from what I understand, from what I have read and researched, is that so recently, Monsta X came back with their latest comeback album, and so at the same time, there were various allegations thrown in from various parties. So mainly, there is this lady named Jong Da-eun who alleged that Wonho borrowed money from her in the past when they were living together as housemates, and also stole her items and auctioned them off, and therefore she wants to get repaid for those items. So she claimed that he has not paid her back. Okay, so for on this issue, it has been stated in a text message exchange that Wonho did return some of the money already, and he thought that he had paid the money, but apparently there's more money that he needs to pay according to this lady. So that's that situation. Another situation is the same lady also alleged that in 2013, all right, Wonho smoked marijuana with her. Okay, and there was also another witness who supported this claim. Now, of course, from what I understand, is that in South Korea, smoking marijuana is illegal. It's just flat out illegal. So that could be an issue that he has with crime, right? So while all this was happening, so I guess for these two allegations, if proven true, okay, I mean, sure, that there could be some compensation that needs to happen, whether it is for the money or the deed, all right, if proven real. But at the same time, there was also this other girl, Miss Han So-hee, who was involved in a lot of various scandals in the K-pop industry. You can just Google her yourself. I'm not gonna go into it. Who then jumps out because apparently now she's the girlfriend of Jong Da-eun. Okay, he claims that Wonho in his youth was actually a juvenile delinquent, and he was involved in some criminal acts where he was like charged or something like that. Okay, so that's kind of the basic situation. And also on the side, of course, there's also another situation where Miss Han So-hee, alleged that Shonu was having an affair with a married woman, and recently there's been some supposed photos that came out, but the agency has of course denied that these were photos of Shonu, and they have stated that they would take legal action, which I'm glad that the agency is finally taking a stand. Now, so that's the situation for now. Basically, the idea is that this group has been thrown into turmoil as they are in this point of time when they are starting to rise in fame, they are starting to get very, very popular. Yeah, and basically Wonho has been terminated. Like they terminated his contract. The agency terminated his contract. He's gone. He's out of the group. And there's been a whole protest by Mon babies, at which I have joined in also on Twitter, on Instagram, to support their cause, because I feel very strongly that there's something wrong with this situation. I feel very strongly that there's issues with how it's handled. So I've kind of written down a bit of why I think it's such an issue. Okay. I just want to reiterate, I'm not a like Mon Baby, like the die-hard fan of this group, but I do see some of their things. I think it's pretty dope. But overall, I'm just worried about this entire climate of fear mongering and you know um, using unsupported rumors to hurt people's careers that they have worked so like many years for. So the very first point that I want to bring up is the lack of requirement of proof. So in a court of law, of course, you would require um, somebody, if there's a party, let's say party A wants to accuse party B of stealing their things or like murdering somebody, they need evidence, not circumstantial evidence, but actual evidence that ties the person to maybe the victim. So it could be like a fiber, hair fiber from the person to the victim. It could be the evidence that ties the person to the location of the crime during the time of the crime. Things like that. So my problem with this situation is that there seems to be a lack of requirement of proof in such instances. It's a very he say, she says kind of situation. And I think that in this case, what is at you have to look at what is at stake. In a court of law, it could be your freedom that is at stake or your life that is at stake. So it's very important that these requirements are, are held to the highest degree. Now, the phenomenon we are seeing right now is that such rumors spread online or through the media is actually putting these artists' careers at stake. That means your job, right? Let's say you're an accountant working at a company, and like these rumors cause your company to fire you. I would think that a lot of people would think that that is very unfair because they are unsupported. Where is the evidence? Where is the proof? So for the two alleged wrongdoings by Miss Zhang, I would think that it's important to see some receipts. For example, she claimed that Wonho borrowed a lot of money from her to pay for rent. So I would expect, like, if you are lending this person money, you need to keep some record of it. Maybe it's like you wrote checks for your rental payment, then you better keep those checks to prove, like, hey, I'm supposed to pay like half the rent because we're housemates, but I've been paying full rent. So you have your check stubs or something that you could keep, or receipts from the rent owner that you should be keeping, or some bank records. I guess like the idea is that one who does, say, yeah, I did owe you money before, I paid you. So the second issue is like, how much? So did he indeed pay everything that he knew he needed to pay? Or has other fees been added, after the fact, like interest, start counting interest. That's a different story. You start counting in all sorts of your own like made up compensation fee. I'm not saying that she did. I don't know this person, but it's possible. So the amount of money involved is important here too. Secondly, let's look at the allegations on marijuana as well. Um, I mean, okay, if that's the law of your country, okay, you need to press charges if somebody has consumed marijuana. Yeah, sure, fair enough. People know the law. But um, aside from the two um, like witness accounts, so-called witness accounts, are there any other proof? That's what I'm interested to see, maybe there's a dealer who has dealt with him, and then, there's some records or some transaction of money between them to prove like, hey, yeah, he bought marijuana, or he was in possession of marijuana, or that, you know, there are certain, or he took some health tests or drug tests during that period of time back in 2013, and of course, he did what he did. So, like, of course, now, if you're talking about it now, that's 6 years from now, and these records will be very hard to find. So why didn't you press charges then, but choose until a later time to bring all these to light? I would question those things, frankly. Okay. Oh yeah, and of course, same with Shonu's situation. Where's the proof? So, are there text message histories? Are there photographs where this woman was photographed with Shonu and they were very intimate? So like it's a very, in Chinese we call this a very 默虚有. The second thing that I want to talk about is the overall obsession with idols having a clean slate. Now, this is highly like it's a very highly problematic issue, and I think this also kind of links to the cancel culture that is getting more rampant nowadays on like YouTube, Twitter, etc. Yeah, that applies more to YouTubers and influencers. So there's an expectation that like Korean idols are supposed to have a clean slate, like they have never done anything before, they are perfect human beings, they never dated anyone before, and it is a very unreasonable. It's very, very unreasonable, because it is human nature to make mistake. We all make mistake. I mean, I myself, I've never been a very big risk taker in my own life, but I have made some mistakes. I have done some things that I'm not very proud of myself. But I'm able to, make up for it, like apologize or make up for it, and we move on. And that's why we teach children that, hey, if you make a mistake, it's fine. You say sorry, you make up for it, and then we move on with our lives. So I don't understand why the same expectation cannot be placed on idols. Of course, if you're talking about criminal law, or like doing something very heinous, such as the previous Burning Sun scandal, where there were a lot of victims who were being filmed on film, and of course, then the person probably has to pay the corresponding compensation in terms of jail time, in terms of maybe not being allowed to participate in the entertainment industry again. Yeah, but you have to look at the levels here, right? So here we have a kid, not a kid now, but in the past he was. So Wonho, basically he has revealed sometimes that he came from a very rough childhood. He has had like his family has had debt issues, and then so that's why he worked very hard to become a trainee and also subsequently to debut. So I wouldn't expect somebody like that to have a clean slate, because um, frankly speaking, society is not easy to those who are underprivileged, to those who are impoverished, and you have to like do some shit to survive. I'll be very honest about that, because if you're kind and just nice and you don't do shit, nah, you're gonna be eaten by wolves. And because in that culture also, that will breed a lot of bad behavior as well that we don't want. But yeah, so I think this is quite important. So I think what I'm getting to is I do expect my idols to be on a certain moral ground. Like, you gotta still, be a decently outright person. But I'm not expecting them to be perfect. And I think this also relates to the cancel culture where nowadays there's many people on the internet where dig out some shit about somebody famous from a long time ago, and then they post it, they spread it, and then the rest of the community is like, oh, you're a horrible person, we're going to cancel you, we are not going to support you anymore. And then, so recently actually, the ex-president of USA, Mr. Barack Obama, did a video where he did talk about it. I saw a video of him basically, and he did talk about this issue, and he also has the similar sentiment that everybody does wrong things at some point in their life. And this cancel culture where you're just digging things from the past, you're not even looking at how much the person has progressed from then to now. Maybe he's changed, turned over a new leaf, has changed, um and then you're just like, okay, you did something wrong, I'm gonna cancel you. And then the next month somebody else finds something wrong with maybe the very first person who alleged somebody else, and you cancel that person. So you're just canceling people left and right. And I think that's a very dangerous culture. That's a very dangerous culture, because it will mean that there is very fear mongering. It's kind of like living in, of course, like, I mean, this is an analogy. I'm not, you know, trying to insult anybody. It's kind of living in the reign of terror where, maybe your neighbor can just go and say, hey, so and so, blah, blah, blah. And then he's taken to the guillotine and bye. It's a very dangerous culture. And I don't want to start that. I don't want to live in a society like that. In the Netflix series Black Mirror, there was also an episode where there's this ranking, social ranking. Everyone has a social ranking, and the moment that you do something wrong, you start to go to a bad social ranking, you are just kept there forever because of various circumstances. And so I think that, and then you cannot do anything in society. You cannot even improve yourself and help yourself. So I think it's like a huge no-no to me. Okay, now, and so this is related to point number 3, all right, where this whole situation is showing that the society on a whole is not giving people opportunities to change. In Wonho's case, right, basically, from what I've seen, of course, I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I don't know how his, you know, it's just not. But I know that it's not easy being an idol. Like their schedules, girl. I'm like, no, I want to sleep, man. I can't do what they do. And he also shows that he's a very disciplined individual who works very very hard for his body and physique, and somebody who puts that much energy into building his body, and it shows. I mean, visually it shows, but it also shows the dedication he has to his job. Because if my job required me to have a toned body, I'll be like, maybe I'll get another job, a different job. Yeah, but he does it. And then he keeps up his schedule. He's very from what I've seen from their interaction, he's a very trusted and reliable individual in the group, which is why it's also such a huge shock to both the fans and I believe to the group as well. So it from his actions, I see that, hey, he's probably a very different man from the juvenile delinquent that he used to be. And action speaks a lot louder than words. I believe that, like, people can just talk shit. People can promise you the world. People can I've just met so many people who they talk a big fat game, but they don't do shit. And it's rare to find people who actually they do what they say. They um just quietly work hard at what they want to achieve. And I think that Wonho is probably such a person from the impression I have. Of course, I don't know him like personally, right? Like privately, I don't know him. Um, yeah. So I think that if what I think my opinion of him is true, it means that he has changed, and he has changed for the better. And this is something to be celebrated for. Especially since we do know that he comes from a troubled or like difficult background. Do you know how difficult it is for impoverished kids to get out on top? I used to teach, and I mean I left the job because I kind of suck at it. Yeah, I do my best, but not a great teacher. So do you know how difficult it is for these kids? Because from in school itself, you already see the difference. The kids who are unkempt, who are bad at their subjects, and the kids who are, they always come clean, they come on time, they have tuition. Yeah, they're privileged. Their families can afford extra money. Their families can afford the time to prepare them more. You think that kid washed his own clothes? Nah, man. That kid had his clothes ironed and placed there for him in the morning, but the other impoverished kid who's unkempt, he probably washed his own clothes and he doesn't know how to wash it. Or he's like, busy and trying to cope with all these things that's happening in his life. And so it's so difficult for impoverished kids to come out on top. But we have this situation where um these two, I don't know about Miss Jung, but Miss Hanso, she is known for being, from an upper class upbringing, from a high social economic status. So, like and she's there like saying, hey, this guy went to juvenile. I'm like, not cool, girl. Like, really? You what are you? Like, what are you? Who are you to say that when you have never experienced the hardship that impoverished people or like more disadvantaged people have gone through? I mean, like, you need to get an education, you need to get work, man, girl. Like, nah. Yeah, so so this actually leads me to my fourth point, where I look at the situation and I think about how a person's social economic status plays into this. We like to believe that we live in a society where our hard work determines where we go, but the truth is, uh, there is a significant percentage um, of of factors that comes from um, our familial background, the community we live in, the upbringing that we were given, um, and whether your family is rich or not. So when I look at this situation, I see Wonho, somebody who came from like a more difficult background. I see Shodu, somebody who came from kind of modest, normal kind of background. Um, and then I see these two girls who, like, they are from pretty privileged background, because I'm not sure about Miss Jong, but she mentioned she had a Bauman belt when back in 2013, which is like, girl, okay, I see you have some cash, girl. And Miss Han, of course, we know that she's rich. So what I'm seeing here is also another layer of the privilege, possibly bullying the those who are not privileged, who are not in high society. You get what I mean? You know, I mean, like, of course, if these two people, if these two members of Monsta X have done wrong things and they are proven, girl, you got to do what you got to do. You got to make up for it. You got to, like, compensate. You got to apologize. But if not, it's really just a situation of, like, hey, people from high society making rumors about people from a normal background, and they know they can get away with it because they're rich. They're rich and they have societal standing. And I think that is so unfair, and that is, like, disgusting. It's really something that's, like, I feel like I'm back in French in France before the France Revolution kind of thing. Of course, I'm not French, but it's just an analogy. Don't be offended. Yeah, and people from high society, they're partying and doing all sorts of shit and texting the poor. So yeah, this is another layer that I see into it, and it's very disgusting. It's really that's not how this society is supposed to. That's not a world I want to live in. Like I'll be like, okay, bye. This is not the kind of world that I want to live in. Yeah, and so finally, I think I also want to. The final point I want to talk about is an entertainment agency's role in all this. Of course, I do not know if Wonho terminated his contract willingly, or that the agency say, hey, you gotta quit, or we are gonna terminate all of you, or I'm gonna terminate you if you don't quit. So it just sounds better if you quit. You know what I mean? Yeah. Um. So I think that these entertainment agencies, you need to get some balls and stand up for what you think. These artists, they come in as trainees. You've seen them grown. You pick them from all these people. You get to know them over time. It's a whole company. You guys are like, the reason what you are together almost 24/7, almost even more than these artists are with their families. So you probably should know who they are. You probably should know, by this point, it has been like many years, who are these people that you are getting into business with. And if you know that, I know he has a past, I know that but I know that he's working so hard, he's on a great track, he's being responsible, he's doing everything that he needs to do, and then you better back up your artist. Because I also know that these entertainment agencies, you're not working for free. Those tickets that, you sell $300 each to the to your fans, come on, man. All the money, you think all the money goes to Monsta X? No, big chunk of it goes to you, entertainment agency, right? You like, I mean, in the end, the idols, they do get a cut, but they do get a smaller cut. And I know, company, you got to make things work. But if you are taking money from somebody, you better do some work, man. It's the same if I do a job, I work with somebody, um, like, for example, to teach a class, and you're getting 50% of the fees that the students are paying me. I expect you to do something, man. I expect you to, clean up the classroom. I expect you to have a library of resources I can borrow from. I expect you to deal with, the fees, the student interaction, the communication with students and parents. I expect you to do that. And I think this is where the entertainment agency needs to step in and do your job. This is like the point of time where, as an entertainment agency, you should do your job. So, why are you not doing your job? Right? And why are you. And everything happens so suddenly and quickly. It's just, oh, news broke. Next day, he's terminated. One who's terminated, he's left. Gone. I find that very suspicious, and I personally, I believe that he was either threatened by the agency that, you know, you gotta quit, if not you're gonna ruin this whole group, so you better quit right now, before things get ugly. Um, or he was either threatened by that, or he was threatened by the other party, the parties um, throwing out these rumors that, hey, if you don't quit your group, I'm gonna ruin it. I'm gonna like show more stuff. And that shows because they, photos on show news site started coming out. So it's also a highly suspicious timing to me. I mean, like, you have all this time in the world, you gotta do it during the comeback. You're trying to hurt somebody, girl. I know, I see it. Like, you can't just text him. You can't just text the agency or his lawyer and get this settled on your own. Nah, man, you're trying to destroy these people, and I think it's pretty low. It's pretty low. So yeah, I'm sorry, it's a very long video, but I kind of just like have been having a lot of thoughts in the past couple of days, and I just really want to pop off. I think this shows like a very is not a good pathway that society is going down, especially with social media playing such a big part. Anyone can just hop on, throw out a rumor. In the past, you still had to get media support from like you need to know people in magazines and newspapers to do something like that. But nowadays, you don't have to. You just pop it on social media and people will pick it up as news. So I think it's a very it's a very scary climate. Yeah, and I don't appreciate that. And I wouldn't want anyone from my own fandom to get involved in something like this, where, they are like not allowed a chance to explain even, or not allowed a chance to make compensation and to change themselves. So, yeah, frankly, I'm kind of disappointed at this entire situation. So, but anyway, I hope that people who can support the movement that these the fans, the Mon Babies are putting out, could support it. I'm gonna just link to the petition below. If you go on Twitter, you can find you probably find on trending some of the trending terms the Mon Babies are using as their social media like Twitter protests. Yeah, and support it if you believe it, because I think this is something that affects all fandoms. Because if we do not stand up and say that, hey, there's something wrong here, it means that we are permissive of it. And being permissive of something wrong is not synonymous as to doing the wrong thing, but it is pretty high up there, and it gives people the leeway to be like, oh yeah, now I can do this to other fandoms, I can do this to EXO, I can do this to BTS, I can do this to so and so, and it doesn't matter, and people are not going to catch me for it, so we better catch them for it. Like, this is wrong. This whole situation just feels very, very wrong to me. But anyway, thank you for hearing my rant today. It's pretty random. Yeah, so yeah, we'll talk about more beauty stuff